Okay guys, we are bench side. We are back on our F-250 Ranger Highboy, our snowplow, rust bucket, wherever you want to go with it. We hadn't done nothing with this other than painted the top, drilled some holes. We assembled the box side, got this ready to go. Remember early on I was telling you this was warped. I believe I showed you that in video 1. So I ended up putting that together anyway so you can see how nice and warped that looks. It's got that this way look going on, which I like that. I'm going to leave it like that because it gives that worn out patina look that I'm after. So that is assembled. And I wanted to assemble this first before I started to damage it, I guess, or rust it out. Because I wanted to make sure no matter what I did to this, this was still going to fit together. That way I know it's going to assemble correct versus fighting with something after the fact. So I figured it'd be easier to do it this way. And then twist it, tweak it, and whatever we're going to do with it from that point. But that's going to be for later on. So I have my red dye number 3 here ready to go. Illegal in some states, I heard. And we're going to get started on the snowplow, the blade itself. I'm going to paint this yellow like the box art is in yellow. I believe yellow was a Meyer blade, if I remember right. Because you had like Boss and Western and all those different companies. But I know the one from back in the day in yellow, I believe it was, I know, maybe Western was yellow back in the day. I'm not 100%, but I remember Meyer was. I really'd like to put a decal on there, but I'm not sure if I got time to do something like that or not. Because like I said, I'd really like to try to get this done for the Acme show down in Georgia. That's the plan. But that's coming up pretty quick, because we're going to leave probably a week prior to the show. With that being said, we still got a little time. We'll see how things go. So I'm going to assemble the blade, get this all together, and we're going to paint it. Then I'm going to rust it up. I'm really not sure if I want to dent the blade up, because you know, these things don't stay all nice and smooth and cool looking for a long time. They got pits and dings and grooves and what have you in it. I don't know, I may put a couple nicks in it with the knife. I may soften it and put a couple, spots up here yet. I'm not sure. I'm going to put this together first, and then we'll come back to this. I'll think about that and go from there. So I'll get this together and I'll bring you back. Well guys, we got a little progress done here. So we got our shoes put on here. And I'm going with the rectangular lights versus the round ones. I know these are for a later style, but obviously that truck didn't come with this, probably brand new. Well, in my case it didn't. So I like the looks of these lights better than the round ones. The round ones kind of just date themselves to like Antique Week, but so I had a problem with these, putting these on into here without grinding that out quite a bit. So I basically just shaved mine down and just glued them on. And if I found putting these on my kit anyways, the lights would sit on an angle like this. So basically as it was starting to dry, I just made sure that it was nice and straight and all that good stuff. So we're going to let these cure out a little bit, and we're going to paint this all black. So everything here is going to be yellow. So like I say, I'm angling mine to the left. So in order to do that, per instructions, you need a short shock and a long one, or a ram, however you want to go. And the control or the pump assembly, I'm doing that in yellow as well versus the black. We're going to put some nicks and chips in this thing, give it that more realistic old school look. Mine had this huge gash in the plastic already, which worked out kind of good. So I took and scraped that a little bit. Now my knife, I got the tip broke off in it, and I'm going to put a few holes in it. Not holes, but just like chips more or less. So when we go to paint it, it'll be easier to do rust effects on it. So I did a few of them on the back already, and these are pretty subtle, nothing major. A couple here, one here, here. I mean, you don't want to, like say, you don't want to put nothing in a pattern. And the front I'm going to do, and the reason I took the tip off it because I don't want to sit here like this and put a pinhole in it. I want to put like an actual like hole in it. So this works perfect for that because it gives that little bit of a, it's not a pinhole, but it's more of just a, I don't know if you can see, just a weird shaped hole versus a nice round hole, if that makes sense. The whole thing makes sense. So we're just going to do these, just a few random ones here, nothing too special. I'm just going to go across the board with it. So I put scratching at, which is good. Like I say, we're just kind of going for that patina look. We'll just do some oddball random ones here, because a lot of these blades get chipped up over the course of their life, and this one is no exception. So before I paint this, I'm going to take and sand this a little bit. Just make sure that those are pretty good. I'm not going to do a lot of them on here, just a few. And now I'll put a few dents on the top here, and a couple on the side. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to use a heat gun. Okay guys, so we're going to use my industrial heat gun. You can pick these up anywhere. This is just a cheapie. I use it for work once in a while. I had it here at the house for some reason, so like I say, you can get these at Harbor Freight. I wouldn't recommend buying a nice, I know Wagner makes them, all kinds of guys, and there's a high and low. This plastic doesn't take long at all to heat it. So like I say, we're just going to put a couple dents in it. So we're just going to put it on low, because it don't take long. It gets hot really quick. So I'm going to put a little mark on the side here. Just some little dents, just enough to give it a little bit of a, we hit something. Nothing too extreme. Something like that. And we're going to give it just a little dent up top here in the top corner. So put it back in low. Just gotta be careful not to go too much with it. Like I say, it doesn't take much. Like say like that, just a little nib, just something to say it's been hit. That's probably all I'm looking to do on the blade for dent wise. So we got that corner there, little dent there, and my scuff here. That should be good enough. All right, I'm going to take these over to the paint booth, get them painted, and we'll see how she goes from there. All right, guys, taking into the paint booth. So we're getting that test spoon filled out here. Just make sure my paint is spraying good. And moving on to the blade, you know, this Mobius kit has a lot of grease on it, and from manufacturing, and of course that one thing I forgot to take it in the house and wash it as usual. So this is lacquer, so this actually covers pretty good as long as you don't put it on overly heavy at first. So this worked out pretty good. So we're giving this some light coats, filling all this in, all the little nooks and crannies, for that yellow to cover up nicely on top of it. Because I tell you what, we put this yellow on first, man, it would have took like a bottle to cover this up. Even with primer or anything, you know, it would have been a long way going. Plus the color wouldn't have been the right tone for what I'm looking for. It would have been way too, almost like that, I don't know, neon color yellow. So other than this, we're painting our hydraulic rams and getting these taken care of. So this is our long one. And we'll get that short one taken care of. Same thing with this, I'm doing just light coats, and I'll come back and shoot these later on that you probably won't see. Get these wrapped up, and for some reason I'm showing you the hydraulic pump here, which is already orange magically, so we missed some footage somewhere, so now we're switching over to yellow. So we're getting this covered up, and like I say, the yellow covers up very well on top of that orange. I like how that does, especially for weathering, because if the yellow's faded or chipped or whatever, you have the orange underneath, so it kind of looks like it's already got the weathering effect starting. So it covers really well. I really like this, doing it this way. So now I'm moving back onto here quick, just another quick shot. And onto the main event. We'll get the blade going. So this will be its final run on the blade for color until we weather it. So like I say, just giving it some light coats, and I'm not looking to like deep fill the whole thing. Like I say, that orange works really well for, you know, masking some of the rust for me. So we'll get this painted up here quick and I'm just showing you the highlights. I don't want to bore you with the whole thing of painting it, so you're just going to see the kind of the quick end of it. And I don't know why I should raise that camera up a little bit, because getting a little bit of a blur from the airbrush from the going up and down with it, but that's how it goes. So this is the gist of it, and we're going to wrap it up and take it back over to the bench. I think that turned out pretty cool, so let's get started on it. Okay guys, so we're going to get this painted up, letting that cure a little bit more. So in order to do that, it has you take your cylinders. You're supposed to glue these all on at one time, but I want mine different colors. So I stuck these on here just to make sure they stayed in that position, because I want mine tilted a little bit. So I made sure those fit on nicely before I put it together. So you need a long one and a short one to turn a direction. So that's how we're doing it. They don't go on that way, but just showing you. So I got looking at it and I thought, you know, it'd be cool. Let's put some hydraulic hoses on it. So I'm digging through some pictures off the old interweb there, and I thought, yep, that'd work perfect. I picked this up at the old Hobby Lobby a while back, and I thought this would work good for plug wire, but it's actually too big. So this actually worked great for like heater hose, stuff like that, and it's vinyl. So it's really good. So I thought, boy, that worked perfect for hydraulic hose. So what I'm going to do is I already drilled a couple holes in these. So looking online where the hose would be coming out of the cylinder. So I drilled a hole here, one in the short guy, and then in my pump assembly, I got one on the side on the block and one in the back, kind of come up to the top. Yes, I scratched the paint, but that's all right. But that's where we're at for now. So I thought this looked pretty cool. Like I say, got it in the Hobby Lobby in the craft section of the store. Right? Okay. Well, we get all our components painted up. So I did this in the Tamiya flat black, and I think those turned out pretty nice. So these are LP3. Same with this. I did all these. Anyways, we're putting hydraulic lines on this. I kind of like the looks of it bent. I was doing some research online on the old Google Meister and found that most of them come out on an angle. So I am going to use some plastic rod. I do not have the package for this. So we're basically going to put this in like that and then just nip it. Like I say, we'll just keep it short and sweet. So that'll be for the one. And I am doing, just to bend these around, I'm just taking my tweezers. And the nice thing about Lila's plastic, it bends pretty easy without any problems. We'll go out in the middle. You just give it a 90-degree bend, and that one broke. So that was a prime example of not to bend it too quick. So note to yourself, don't bend it too fast. How about these guys? All right. So just give it an easy bend. Give it an easy bend, it'll stay and bend for you no problem, like so. So if you bend it slow, you don't get it where it breaks off for you. And I'll go a little bit bigger than what I had. That way I can just cut it back, because it's easier to bend it somewhere longer than a short piece. Like so, and then I can try it in my shock. Yep. And this side here will be the side that goes into the shock, just because it's a little longer. Okay, so I just take a little bit of glue, stick in there. We'll let that set just for a second, and we'll move on to the rest of the project. So I got to kind of pay attention to the orientation of it. So we'll have it coming up just a little bit. I put one standing up in the back. I'm going to bend that one out like a 45-degree. Something like that. Alright, we're going to let those sit for a bit, and then we're going to paint those. And in the meantime, we're going to paint the rest of these. We're going to rust those up. And we're going to rust this guy up. I don't want it shiny yellow, obviously. So I got a couple options. Being I'm going to spray my wash over top of this once it's all said and done. It should tone it down pretty good. But the best way to take a paint job without sanding it or dulling it to make it a shiny paint job look like it's weathered is to take white paint and spray over the top of it like a wash. Just a real light misting, and that'll make any paint look dull or flat or whatever, wore out. That works really good doing that. I don't know if I'm going to do that to this or not, or just leave it like that and just let the wash tag it up, because I do kind of want to leave it more of a darker yellow. But like I say, though, spraying the white over top of it, it'll dull that out really nice. So what we're going to do is, I think I'm just going to go over top of this just with the rust, and then I'll hit that on it later. And we're going to start with our dark chocolate. Okay, we'll throw some of that down. So we're going to use the Plow color system, as they call it. This is the German black brown. That's the 70.822. I'm not sure if that's the actual part number to it, or if this is down here, the RLM61. I'm not really sure, because a lot of these other bottles don't have the other number on. It's just this odd decimal point number. So really not sure which way it is. Even like the one that's for airbrush only, it's this number here. So when I throw that on the screen, guys, that's the number I'm referring to as up top. I'm not sure if that number has any meaning or not, so I'm not sure. But either way, we're going with our same old 302 and the 7822. That's what we're rolling with. So this is the German black. So we're going to put a little bit on here. Black brown. And we'll do a little bit of highlighting in the corners here. I'm going to start in the back and anywhere that's along the edges. So it's going to take a little time, obviously. So you can obviously see what we got going on here. I'm going to do this whole corner. So I'm going to do the back of this at least. And I'll bring you back once we get this done. Kind of see where I'm going with this. So that'll be all for that. I'm going to just continue to fill in every other piece here and go from there. When I get this done, I'll bring you back and we'll change colors. Okay guys, so we got that done in the back. Didn't go too crazy with it, but you gotta be careful because you can get too carried away with it. So this is where I'm at with it. I kind of went heavy at the mounting points on most of it, and the skis on the bottom. So I have not done yet the front. So these spots are here are where I took the knife from previous and I kind of dug them in. So we're going to do something with that here in a second and go from there. So right now we're going to change colors. I decided to go with a little lighter color. This is actually just called chocolate brown. So I'm not even going to bother really cleaning the brush. I'm just going to dip right in it. And basically going to take this color and just run kind of on the edge of the color I just put on. So pretty much just going to put this here. And just kind of blend that in with that. Just a little bit, nothing overly heavy. Just to give that little bit of light transition. And I'm not doing the whole thing, just little bits and pieces of it. And why I have a lot on there, I really don't know. It just come out that way. So on the bottom, I'm going to put a little more heavy on here where I didn't cover it. But I'll do that in that lighter brown. And usually when you want to do these, you really need to pull up prototype pictures, because you can overdo this like really easy. And more is sometimes worse than not enough. So I don't get too carried away with it, just enough to just change some accent along the way. Okay, that's all I want to do on the back of that. I don't want to get too much with it. So at this point, I'm going to take my springs and I'm going to paint a little bit on the black. We'll see how that looks. I actually want to just kind of dry brush it. I want the springs to get that look like they do have some rust in there. Now this color works good on here because we're painting over top of black, so it's a good base. So I want them to be blackened, but I also want them to be kind of a rusty black, you know. Now brown chalk on the end of this would actually look really good. Man, we got the heat on in here tonight. It's been just nasty outside. Winter just hit all of a sudden. It went from 80 degrees last week to, I think we're at 45, 46 degrees right now. And it is pouring outside, so it's good times. Okay, so we're just gonna give that a little bit of, like I say, a little dry brush. So I more want to highlight the spring, not the whole thing. Something like that. You can tell compared to the black, solid black, it looks pretty good. So we'll do the same thing to this guy, and then we will move on. Okay, we're gonna leave those just like that. So now that this has dried, now we're gonna go back to our oil-based paints, and this is where those come in really nice. And we're gonna put this on the down. We're gonna do some streaking on it. So for this effect, you want to make sure you keep it as straight down as possible. That is not the look I'm going for. So the nice thing about this, you can just wipe it off. Like I say, I had to practice with this. I haven't done that much of this lately. Nice thing about the oil, it wipes right off, no big deal. And you can kind of go from there. I actually need to wipe a little more of that off. Showing you my errors here, guys, because like I say, I'm not a professional at this by any means. Let's try that again. So now we're going to use just that little bit there. We're just going to wash that down. It's actually a little heavy. We'll try this here. We'll leave it at that. I still don't like this one. I don't know why. It just doesn't. That's too heavy. And this here, I just don't like the looks of it. Something about it, I just don't care for it. Just don't look right. It's too wide. The pattern's just not right. Maybe I just need to keep it more narrow like that. That looks better. Something like that. I think we'll do the same to that one. And as that rolls into the paint, perfect. Like I say, just want subtle, that's all. Yes, sir. Dry brushing, it's pretty much what you want on these rust stains coming down. I'll leave that like so. I'm going to take more of this oil and put it around the edge here. Tell you about some of these pictures I've seen online. I mean, some of these are just like, wow. Horrible looking. Just going to bleed that up a little bit. So, and I think we're going to leave it like that. Like I said, I wanted kind of just a piece of junk blade that's been laying out in the woods forever. We just picked it up. Okay, we're going to let that sit. So now for this guy, we're going to add a little bit of rust on this. So it's just easy to do it now. So we're going to add some of the oil. We'll see what that looks like first. Which it's pretty dark, so you're not going to see a lot of it. So we may move back onto my light chocolate guy here. Well guys, this video is running a little longer than anticipated. I'm going to finish this out real quick and wrap this end of this up. We're going to start a next video for part 2 on the build of the blade. And finish weathering it and assembly. So look out for that video coming out probably right after this one, if not at the same time. And we will get it finished up. I appreciate you guys watching and checking out the channel and following along on this. And we will see you on the next video. You guys have a good one, and thanks again for watching. We'll see you.